Regan, it sounds like it was a very complicated rescue.
Good morning. Yes, and it was pretty incredible to watch firefighters do their work. Everything was working against them here. A man was trapped under thousands of pounds of construction aggregate, and even one wrong move could have ended his life. About an hour into the rescue, a vacuum truck was called in to remove some of the debris, but the man was buried underneath the gravel mixture for nearly 3 hours, unable to move. It all began around 11 last night. 2 workers were inside this 20-foot trench, repositioning the shoring cage used to protect themselves when the front collapsed. One managed to dig himself out, but the other was pinned. A technical rescue team had to build new supports around the man and carefully dig him out. Firefighters lifted him out of the trench with a rope, and he was then loaded onto a stretcher and taken to hospital by ambulance. Well, Jason, the coroner is now on scene here. We've been speaking with neighbors this morning who are absolutely devastated. They say the couple inside the home were in their 60s and that they've lived on the street for a very long time. They describe them as generous people that would give you the shirts off their backs.
He was with us at 8 o'clock last night, and at 4:30 I got up to come outside, heard a little bit of noise, and his house was engulfed. So we ran over as fast as I could to get the neighbors up, and it was just too hot to get inside.
The 3-alarm fire broke out around 4 this morning on 125 B Street near Old Yale Road. Neighbors tried to get into the home to save the couple, even breaking down the back fence to get access, but the heat was too intense and the flames were shooting into the sky. Firefighters say they found the couple in the basement suite, but it was too late. It's unclear if they were sleeping at the time. Firefighters spent hours putting out hot spots, and RCMP and fire investigators have now taken over the scene. It took 11 fire trucks and 34 firefighters to put out the fire.
Yeah, so crews arrived, very narrow street. We have 11 trucks here, really challenging. The property itself is extremely challenging because there's a lot of debris. So it was a really challenging fire to get to. There was a lot of stuff in the front yard and throughout the home.
So a very sad day for the people that live on the street. They did everything they can, but they said they felt completely helpless as the heat was just too intense for this fire. They say it was also, as you heard, very hard to access. This is actually a dead-end street, so getting to the house to even put out the flames was very challenging. Jason.
So tragic this morning, North Surrey.
Good morning, Regan. You are following this for us. You're keeping a close eye on this blaze. What's happening there now?
Well, it's still burning out of control this morning. It broke out shortly after 2 a.m. I arrived a short time later, and you can take a look at what it looks like right now. Still lots of flames and smoke. We're standing at the backside of the business that's on Canby Street. We're in the alley. This is where the fires to have broken out. It began in about 3 businesses as a 1-alarm fire, but as you can see, it has gotten a lot bigger. We're now at a 3rd alarm fire with multiple businesses still at risk of being up in flames. Now, the fire started in one of the businesses. It looks like it was possibly a restaurant. It then jumped into the attic of this complex and then through the walls of multiple businesses. We believe about 5 have been damaged so far. Luckily, no one was inside at the time. Firefighters are really working hard to maintain that fire line and stop the spread. There's multiple aerial lines from the front and the back where we're standing. The fire investigator arrived shortly after the fire started, but it's still unclear what sparked this and if it is suspicious or not. Now, because there are power lines in this back alley, it's been a very challenging fire to fight in the terms of access. There's 40 members on scene, and they're expected to be here all morning long.
We have a restaurant, a dry cleaner, there's a drugstore there, and a few other stores. Right now, there's approximately 3 involved.
It's just like the entire sky is like filled with smoke. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So a very active situation here. Firefighters had to add this line in this back alley here in the last half hour just to get a handle on some of the flames. And like I mentioned, they're expected to be here for at least several hours. So there are some traffic disruptions on Canby this morning. Firefighters are also reminding anyone who lives in the area, the smoke is quite thick, so you're going to want to keep your windows closed. Carrie, Jason. chaos at City Hall as frustrated residents take over the council meeting. The situation so hostile, Mayor Doug McCallum and his Safe Surrey coalition walked out. Council chambers were packed after dueling protests both for and against the budget.
This is a solidarity rally for the Surrey Council, who is moving ahead with the Surrey Police.
The budget earmarks nearly $130 million for a transition to a municipal police force, but puts a freeze on hiring for RCMP and firefighters.
We've put all of our eggs in one basket, and I don't think anybody agrees with that. We don't have to get one thing at the cost of something else.
We have a population more than 525,000 now, and experts say that RCMP model can't handle a city having population more than 300,000.
After nearly 45 minutes of delays, the budget was brought to a vote with no further discussion.
All in favor, against, carried. There would be no speakers. On number 60, because of safety conditions.
If you were in this situation, it was a very dangerous and serious situation. The crowd would not be quiet. No one could be heard over it.
A 5-4 decision in favor of the $1.3 billion budget, splitting the council by party lines once again and deeply dividing the community.
I lost a good friend, and it's needless.
It's a memory that's haunted him every day for the last year. The death of his dear friend Sharon Mitchell.
She was running a bit ahead of me coming up to the crosswalk.
The pair left their care home in electric wheelchairs just before 9 to grab a bite to eat.
For about 2 seconds, I could see what was going to happen because I heard the vehicle accelerating.
Mitchell was struck by a speeding car and thrown several meters. She later died.
I could hardly believe it.
The driver sped away.
I know you couldn't do the right thing then, but you can still do the right thing now. Please help give our family some peace.
It's never too late to come forward and explain your side of events.
It's believed the suspect was driving a blue-green 1995 to 1997 hatchback.
While nothing can take away the grief that this family has suffered over the last year, witnesses can bring some comfort to the family by assisting us in solving this case.
Police say even the smallest tip could help bring the driver to justice.
There's no reason for it. When two vehicles are stopped, I mean, that should tell somebody that the crosswalk is occupied.
Laughter echoes through John Braithwaite Community Center as the Knitting Kittens hold their weekly get-together.
We started the group that was for seniors.
They've been hosted by the North Shore Neighborhood House for nearly 4 years.
Neighborhood House has a group of young mothers that really could use sweaters, toques, hats, you know, this type of thing. So we started knitting for them.
United Way's High Neighbor program helps supply the yarn.
The purpose on the surface is to knit, but it goes a lot deeper than that. It's really a space to have social connection, get to know each other, and even to learn English.
That's what drew Farhanda Javadian, a permanent resident from Iran.
At first, when I was here, I shy to speak to any people. And after I came here, everything changed.
The meetings have given her companionship and confidence.
Couldn't answer my telephone, but now I'm very brave to answer and talk a lot too. And after that, I could find a lot of friends.
It's a really beautiful thing to see and to watch it evolve and watch people exchange language and cultivate community where they might have felt really isolated without this experience.
Their relationships symbiotic. Javadian lending her 4 decades of knitting experience to take on even the most intricate designs.
Both sides, helping, I teach them, they teach me, and we learn from each other, and it's very great.
Their diversity is their strength, and just like a patchwork blanket, the result is beautiful. Regan Hasegawa, CTV News, North Vancouver.